Hey everyone, welcome to a new Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 challenge. In this video, I'm going to see if it's possible to get 50,000 guests on the same ride. Now, in order to do this, I'm playing on the new save file format test build, which allows us to have a lot more guests in the park. And what I'm planning to do is to make a very long ride with a big station, and I will use cheats to enable the ride to have 31 trains, all with 255 cars. And I will change every car into a splash boat. And splash boats have a very high capacity. So we can have a lot of guests on every train, and I'll make sure that the train only leaves when it's full. Now, there's several problems that I have. Well, first of all, we need all those trains to be able to spawn. So behind the station we need a long track. And then after that all the trains have to be running at the same time on a long track in front of the station. That track has to be really long while all the trains fill up and the splash boats gently do their course along the track. So that's kind of the plan, and I don't plan to make it a full circuit ride. I just want it to be very long here in front of the train. And I think at the end I'll make all the trains dip into a pool where the guests can, let's just say they can exit the ride there. Wink wink. Alright, I'll just first increase the map size. Since we're playing on the new save file build, let's enable sandbox mode, and that allows us to make the map a little bit bigger. I think 999 by 999 will be a good size for this project. Okay, I think that's perfect. As you can see, the map is quite big now, so that should enable me to build all the track that I need. Now, I could use this tool to draw all the land that I want to own, but instead I'll just go to the cheat menu and own all land. Bam, there we go. Okay, now it's time for me to build the station of the ride. Now I'm going to use a wild mouse track just because it allows us to use small turns. So I'll go for the wooden wild mouse. And the game crashed. Alright, let's try that again. Okay, welcome back. Own our land, very big map, yada yada. Let's go build our ride. Okay, this time it didn't crash, so that's nice. So let's build a really long station. Okay, looks like we've reached the station length limit. Now, the trains will be much longer than this station, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, what I'm going to need to build now is a long track behind the station where we can spawn the really long trains that we are going to use. Now, I could click this button thousands of times, but that would... I don't think that's a good idea. That would probably make my fingers go numb. So instead, there's actually a hotkeys you can use for building. So if I press 1 now on the numpad, I can also build like that. But the good thing is I can also hold the key. So hotkeys are a great addition to this game. And this makes building this much easier. It will still take a long time, but for sure it will take... it will save me some pain. Okay, I'm just going to make a very long track like this. So this will take some time. I'll speed it up for you. Okay, this is an insane amount of track. The map is 999 tiles long, so I think this should be enough to spawn all the trains we need, but I'm just going to give it a try, just to be sure. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save the game, because spawning this amount of trains might again crash the game. So let's just see how it goes. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, first I'm going to do the cheat for showing vehicles from other track types and disabling vehicle limits. And then I'm going to use the hyper twisted trains, just because they have a lot of spacing between them. And now we have 32 trains. Oh, we can actually have more. Well, I think for now I'm just going to stick with 32 trains and just giving them a very long, a very big amount of cars per train. Now, like I said, this might crash the game, so let's just see how it goes. There we go. I crashed the game. So for some reason, if I keep using the scroll wheel or if I hold the button, the amount of cars just stops. Wait, the game just stops. So I'll have to do it by just keeping clicking this button here. Okay, 254 cars per train. That's the maximum. I'm now going to try and spawn them. Again, I'll save before I do it. Oh, looks like the game is already freaking out a bit. There we go. It doesn't like having this many trains on the screen, so the menu is kinda screwed up when I try to load this menu when all the cars are on the screen. Okay, just gonna give it a quick save, and now I'm going to spawn all the trains. This will probably take a while when I set the correct mode. Okay, it looks like the game has drawn all the vehicles. Some overlapping seems to be happening here, but at least all the trains seem to be on the track. I still do have some space here, some space left. So, this was just to see if I could spawn all the trains, and that seems to be working fine-ish. So later I will have to spawn them again, but at least this works. Now, the plan for this challenge is to go to the edit ride vehicles, and then take this ride, and then change all the vehicles into splash boats, like so. Apply this to all vehicles, and then we'll apply this to all trains. Alright, and then all the vehicles have been turned into splash boats. So they should be able to hold a lot of guests, as there are 16 seats per boat. Okay, well, I will despawn the trains again soon-ish, because the next part for me is to make a really long track here. So I can have all the trains filling up with guests while having them all on the track. So again, that will take even longer than making this track here in the back. So I will again fast forward through this process. Okay, I've gone around 10 times now. Now, if you're thinking of doing something like this yourself, I have one recommendation: don't do it. It's so boring to do. Okay, here I will make a place where the guests can exit the ride. So I'll just make a nice little pool here. Alright, and the guests are in boats, so they'll be fine. And let's also give it a different tint. I'll save the game just in case. Alright, perfect. I think that makes the pool look a lot nicer. Okay, the next part for me is to make the queue. Now, I believe a queue can at maximum hold 1,000 people, so there's no point in making it too long. I'll just make it go back and forth a few times here. And I'll make the path here very small. Now, how does it work? Normally, when a ride has just been opened and doesn't have stats yet, when a ride doesn't have stats, I believe around 10% of the guests who arrive at the queue will actually enter the ride. That's when it doesn't have any stats. So I'll just start the queue here, so a lot of guests actually arrive at the queue, and that should enable enough guests to actually enter it. Alright, our queue is now done. So what's left for me is to first spawn all the vehicles. Actually, something I should still do is set the ride to wait for a full load. We don't need a minimum waiting time, but I think it will take a while for the full train to fill up. So it will now wait for a full load and then it will leave. Splash boats are powered vehicles, so they will go through the track without the necessity for a chain lift. Yeah, I think all that's left is to now spawn in the trains, open the ride, and then spawn in the guests. Okay, our vehicles have spawned. That took a while. Now I'll go in the ride vehicle editor to turn them all into splash boats. Okay, and now I will spawn in the guests and then I'll open the ride. Okay, I've opened the ride. I've spawned in a few thousand guests. Yeah, all I really care about now is to keep the queue full. As you can see, a lot of guests are walking back and forth in this part, and yeah, a small percentage of the guests enters the queue. All that matters for me is that I keep the queue full now, so the guests can, so the ride can fill up, yeah, as fast as possible. I'll try not to drop the frame rate too low with all the guests walking around here. Okay, something very interesting is happening here. The guests all appear to walk all the way over here, but that's probably because the end of their train is somewhere over here. It looks like one of the trains is actually here on the track. I don't know how the hell that happened. Okay, there seems to be something weird going on with a lot of the guests who are here. Maybe they need... they're probably waiting for the guy who's sitting next to them before they can actually board the ride. You can also see the back of the train filling up here. Now, yeah, it actually is taking quite a while already to fill up the first train. So I may not actually have enough track to get all these guests on the ride at the same time. Alright, it looks like the first train has just left the station and it's now slowly accelerating. The queue is filling up nicely, that's a good thing, but it cannot nearly hold enough people to fill up one train. So right now there's 3,448 people on the ride. That's how many guests can fit on one train. It might be because of all the extra weight of the guests that it's actually quite slow. I'll see if upping the lift hill change speed does anything, but I think it just accelerates very slowly. I will just fast forward a bit and see what happens. I must say it is pretty cool to see this huge train full of people leaving the station. This must be the end of the first train. Yeah, I think it will be a while before it actually has left the station fully, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit more and see what happens. Now, it does look like the train is not completely full, so I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe the game just cannot handle more guests in the train, or maybe it has decided that this train is full enough for it to leave. So there are some empty spots here in the middle, but still, it does hold more than 3,000 people now, so I think that's quite an achievement. Now, one problem is this train here that's also going around on the track. I hope it doesn't reach this part of the track first, or too soon, I mean, because yeah, that would, as soon as the ride crashes, that means no more guests will enter the ride. So yeah, I'm curious to see what will happen there. Okay, I think I'll place an entertainer here, just to keep the guests happy. And we need a name for the entertainer. I'll call him Bob. Alright, it looks like the game has decided the second train can also leave. It says it waits for full load, but it does look like there's quite a few empty spots left. So I don't know why the game has decided that, but there's more weird stuff happening here. So yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's still filling up. Okay, let's quickly see where our first train is right now. Okay, it's hasn't even passed the first curve yet. But it is nice to see it steaming ahead. Okay, the third train has just decided to leave. It didn't really carry that much passengers, so I don't know why it has decided to leave. Still quite a lot of empty seats. The front and the back have filled up a bit. But yeah, for some reason the game thinks these trains are full now. So yeah, let's hope the fourth train takes more passengers. Okay, it looks like we have an issue here in that the trains leave too soon. So one thing I'm going to try in a bit is instead I'll make, instead of 250 car trains, I'll make them shorter, and I'll just try to go with more trains. So I'm going to take a quick break, and after that I'm going to resume the video with this new strategy. Alright, welcome back everybody. I've decided to go for a little bit of a different strategy. Oh wow, there's a lot of guests leaving here. So instead of having these huge trains, I've made the trains a little bit shorter. So instead of 200 a lot, we instead have 40 cars per train, and we'll have 100 trains. So that gives us 4,000 cars times 16 is a lot. And I think that should definitely be enough to hold 50,000 guests. So yeah, I think it's a good moment to open the ride, try and spawn the vehicle, see if it works, and then see if we can get all the guests on them this time. And also this time I didn't use the right vehicle editor. As it turns out, you can simply just spawn a train of splash boats, so that makes it a lot easier. Now, I'm also going to quickly expand the queue a bit, and that should also help the rides fill up a bit faster. Alright, that's a good start. For some reason, the first boat is already leaving the station. So yeah, I'm curious what else we will find. I should also remember not to accidentally press the remove guests button. Now, what it looks like is that as soon as there are no guests in the queue anymore, the trains immediately leave. So it doesn't look like they wait for the train to actually become full. So I'm just going to add a minimum waiting time, and I hope that will actually stop them from immediately leaving. Alright, that's our first train leaving the station. It looks nice and full. It does look like some of the boats are overlapping a little bit. So that's why it does look a little bit glitchy. But it does look like it's completely full. There's 640 guests on the ride. Well, my math is terrible, but 40 times 16, I assume that's 640. Alright, I'm just going to try and keep this going for a while. Okay, it looks like we've hit another snag. The train doesn't actually seem to want to leave the station. So that's kind of annoying. Now, something else I've noticed is that this queue design probably also isn't too efficient. I saw a lot of guests actually not traveling through this zigzag part very fast. So instead of what I built here, I'm just going to make it into a long path that's straight, and that should help the flow through the queue a bit. Okay, it looks like once again the train refuses to leave the station. I'm not really sure what causes this. In fact, I have no clue. Yeah, what I'm just going to do next is remove the minimum waiting time, and I'll just add an extra train or two and see if that fixes the issue. Okay, for a moment I was worried that the train would not leave the station, but it looks like it has, so that's really cool. So let's just quickly find our first train. It's still over here, and our second train is here. Now, I don't really know if we can get all the trains running, but let's just see how far we can get. Okay, it's going very slow, but we already have almost 5,000 guests on the ride, so we're about 1/10 of the way there. I hope it's the track is long enough to be able to accommodate all the trains. Now, one thing we should probably change. The ride is now called Wooden Wild Mouse. That probably needs a more catchy name, so let's call it Mr. Bones Wild Boat Ride. There we go. I think that's a much nicer name for this ride. And let's also give it a nice decoration here. There we go. Now, and unlike Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, this ride will end at some point. The ride ends one day. Well, that doesn't actually fit on the sign. We need to be a little bit more creative there. Okay, something which I am curious about is where the first car is at the moment. So let's go find it. Car 1. The game actually also doesn't know where it is. So let's just go and find it manually. I see a car here. This is car 5. It must be car 4. This is car 3. And over here is car 1 and 2, which are empty. So, okay, they still haven't completed 1 lap of the ride. So I'm not sure if we will ever see the ride end. Because it will take quite a while for them to reach that point. Okay, we now have almost 11,000 guests on the ride. When I speed up, the frame rates we're getting are already quite disgusting. So yeah, I'm just wondering how far we can take this. Alright, I am now sometimes seeing full trains pass by, so that's really nice to see. You now have almost 14,000 people on the ride. This is going to take a long time still. Fuck.